Wife cheated and got husband arrested, then received a shocking gift box from him and screamed. My ex-wife Lily cheated on me and even managed to get me arrested. When she finally returned home, she received a surprise I had prepared, a truckload of coins as child support payment. The scene attracted the neighbors' attention and made Lily furious, but I remained calm and mocked the situation. Child support was set at $2,000 per month, in addition to my obligation to keep paying the $11,000 monthly mortgage on the house and cover health insurance and education costs for our daughter, Regina, until she turned 18. If she decided to go to college, I would also have to cover those expenses. The judge made it clear that this would cost me over $6,500 a month. Despite Lily's affairs with her co-workers, I was left with most of the financial responsibilities. I am Kurt D'Angelo. Lily and I had a daughter named Regina who means the world to me. She wanted to stay in my custody, but the judge decided otherwise, even with evidence that I was better prepared. My anger toward Lily and the system kept growing, but I decided to act creatively to express my indignation. I work in real estate and also own a currency exchange company. Using this to my advantage, I decided to pay child support in coins, making the process inconvenient for Lily. During our marriage, she insisted we move to a sophisticated neighborhood and buy a $900,000 house, something I never liked. Now, I realized that this insistence was yet another sign of the irreconcilable differences between us. When Lily received the first payment in coins, she was furious and tried to sue me again. During the hearing, her lawyer argued that I was being petty, but my lawyer countered. Coins are a legal form of payment. The judge allowed me to continue but suggested we use checks in the future. The tension in the room was evident, and I noticed both Lily and her lawyer were uncomfortable. Things got worse when I was jailed for contempt of court. Lily took advantage of this to paint me as a negligent father and made it difficult for me to see Regina. Despite this, my daughter remained my greatest motivation. She wanted to see me, but Lily did everything to prevent our visits. This made me indignant, but I knew I had to be patient and strategic. In prison, I faced challenges, including hostile guards and inmates who tried to intimidate me. I held my ground and documented all the abuse. Regina, even with supervised visits, gave me strength by showing her support. When Lily finally brought Regina for a visit, she tried to justify her actions by saying she was doing everything for our daughter's future. I argued that Regina didn't need luxury but rather the freedom to make her own choices. This clash once again showed how incompatible our values were. Meanwhile, I kept planning my strategy to get out of jail and overturn the injustices I faced. I knew my battle against Lily and the system wouldn't be easy, but I was determined to protect my relationship with Regina and rebuild my life. Lily's betrayal and the unjust judgment only reinforced my determination to fight for integrity, justice, and my daughter's love. It was wonderful to see my daughter, but it made me wish we could spend more regular time together. Missing her birthday would be difficult for both of us, but I knew she was strong. The following week, I found out that the guard who had assaulted me was fired. I had no argument against the video evidence that showed I didn't react to the blows. Soon after, the other guard was also gone. I don't know if he was transferred, but at least he was gone. Many inmates thanked me for getting rid of the bad guards. I think I gained some respect, and more people started calling me Tex. After that, I had fewer problems from then on. The 6 inmates were still angry with me. I heard that one of their wives filed for divorce, and 3 others were left by their boyfriends. Maybe foolish people learned from the threat of further revenge, and with my higher position among the inmates, they knew it was best not to mess with me. Time will tell. I smiled as he muttered, "Oh no," when the judge appeared. Furious, accusing me, he shouted, "You did this." I looked at him expressionlessly and said, "What are you talking about?" "Your statement is correct," he shouted again. "They've called me that," I calmly responded. "You'll pay for this," he shouted. "I've been in prison for 4 months. How could I have done anything?" I stated. "You have friends." "We all have friends, Your Honor," I sarcastically replied. "You won't get away with this," he spat. "I don't know, Judge, maybe you'll lose your job soon and your wife will divorce you," I countered. "Call your dogs," he demanded. "Now you're calling my friends dogs? They might not like that," I said. "Be careful with a dog, you might get bitten," I warned. "Are you threatening me?" he questioned. "No, I'm just saying an old saying," I clarified. "I'll make your life a living hell. Watch when you leave. You'll answer to people who don't care about you, and I'll be happy with whatever happens," he threatened before going silent. I turned to my lawyer. "Did you understand that?" "Of course," he nodded, showing the cell phone. "More evidence. The Bar Association will want to know about this. Intimidation is a crime in Illinois." A few days later, my wife visited me again. "Ah, it's you." "I thought I made it clear I had nothing to say," I remarked. "Bastard," she yelled. "What happened?" I asked calmly. "You got me fired, my face is everywhere because of you." "How could you?" she complained. "You did that, not me," I retorted. "Do you hate me that much?" "Yes, and all your lawyer friends who think they're above everyone else," I replied. "You used to be a good small-town girl with an amazing personality. Now you're just a snob from the big city, I continued. What do I do now? No job and no one wants to hire me, she lamented. Maybe go back to your parents' house and start over, I suggested. I can't. The local newspaper calls me the center of a scandal in Chicago. My parents are retiring early and moving to Florida to escape the gossip, she explained. Florida might be good for you far away from me, I remarked. But they don't want to know anything about me, they barely talk to me, she sighed. Maybe it's your fault that your parents and your daughter don't want to be around you, I observed. You should move and start over. Just don't take Gina with you. I'll fight for custody as soon as I get out. With your reputation, they'll reconsider you as a moral example, I said. You can't do that. She's all I have, she protested. I don't care, you did this to yourself. We had a good life until you started messing things up. Maybe you can become a companion for one of your lawyer friends. Almost 40, maybe there's still a market, I challenged. She seemed devastated, her head dropping onto the table as she cried. Bad timing, I observed. Did you bring Gina? She got angry, saying, It's Regina, and no, she's with her doctor friend, she answered. Then there's nothing more to discuss. Don't come back here unless you bring Regina, I said, leaving. This time I didn't feel proud but sad for her. She was broken. The next day I saw a news report. A fire broke out on the top floor of a commercial building downtown, destroying it. The lower floors were saved by sprinklers. I couldn't help but smile. Ken visited me the following day, saying that the external server of the law firm had failed again, losing all the data. I just smiled. A few weeks later, Gina came to see me, glowing. She must have convinced her mother to bring her. She seemed happier than ever. Gina, I greeted. You look so happy, what happened? I finally finished your surprise, you'll never guess, she exclaimed. Well, based on our last conversation, it seems to involve the Oak Forest house. Did you and your mom move back there? I guessed. Almost, she responded enigmatically. I was confused. What do you mean? My mom is being evicted from the Wilmot house and I'm moving to Oak Forest, she revealed. How is that possible? The court gave your mom custody until you're an adult, I reminded. That's the surprise, I got emancipated, she announced. With the house and the trust for me, it was easy. I needed a safe place and our old neighborhood is perfect. So, you're legally an adult now? I clarified, still trying to understand. Yes, when school became hard because of things at home, Dr. Hodge helped me. As soon as you get out, we can go back home. I'm excited to return to school in Oak Forest. I've already caught up with old friends and they can't wait for school to start. Your mom mentioned you spent time with your counselor. I'd like to meet Alex, I said, wary of an older man's attention on my daughter. You're lucky, Alex brought me here today, Gina replied. My concern grew. He was driving Gina around Chicago. I'll be right back, she said, heading to the door. I needed to be careful in how to set clear boundaries with Alex without upsetting her. When Gina returned, she wasn't alone. A stunning woman followed her, smiling at me. Freddie, I haven't heard that name in 20 years, she responded. Freddie or Alexandria Frederico, we grew up in the same neighborhood. We went to school together. Gina looked confused. Dad, how do you know Dr. Hodge? Freddie and I were neighbors. We didn't go out much, I explained. And you were a troublemaker back then, she joked. Looks like you haven't changed much. I blushed. Some things never change. That makes sense, she said. Should I start calling you Tex? Gina asked. It was his nickname when he grew up. He didn't let things slide. Your mom did something wrong to him and I bet he's behind this whole law firm mess, she speculated. I plead the fifth, I joked. A few months later, my life started to get back on track. My time in prison taught me bitter but important lessons. When I finally got out, Regina and Alexandria were waiting for me. My daughter seemed happier than ever and Alexandria's support was crucial for my reintegration. Lily tried to fight to keep Regina, but with the support of a fairer court and the evidence of her misconduct, I gained custody of my daughter. We restarted our life in Oak Forest, rebuilding what had seemed lost. Gina thrived in her new school and our relationship blossomed like never before. As for Alexandria, her constant presence grew into something more. It wasn't just gratitude or nostalgia, it was love. She and Gina became inseparable friends, and, over time, we realized that destiny had brought us together again to build something special. Lily, on the other hand, decided to move to Florida, where she tried to rebuild her life away from the controversies. Our contact became sporadic but civil for Gina's sake. My fight for justice and for my daughter's love had finally come to an end, and I could finally breathe a sigh of relief. The betrayal, the prison, and the losses transformed me, but they also taught me the true value of resilience, family, and love. As a father and as a man, I was finally at peace, ready to start a new chapter with my daughter by my side and, perhaps, with Alexandria in my heart.